Good morning. It's Saturday and got I think a good day planned. I feel like I'm like a Weeble Wobble or something like that, where I keep taking hits and I keep getting knocked down. I just keep getting back up to take more hits. And maybe that's just the way certain relationships in my life were growing up, particularly with my dad. I didn't enjoy a good relationship with my dad. The rest of my family was great. I was just thinking this morning how I can take all the hits from my wife and still be loving. Maybe it's because I'm not a quitter. Like, I don't give up on things. I just try harder until I accomplish something. And I don't want to quit on this marriage because I believed in it fully. Probably more than I believed in almost anything in my whole life. Yeah, I was so sure that getting married was the right idea with the dog. When we got married, 100% sure it was the perfect thing to do. And I believed in it and I worked on it and I would continue to work. Because I commit, like when you commit to something, like you see it through. And I guess there's different ways to think about it. Part of me is like, I would fight for that marriage until the day we signed the divorce papers. And then part of me is like, that's just the technical side of things. I loved her, the person. Will I ever get over her? I had this one friend write me saying that she and her husband had been married and then got divorced and then years later came back together because they realized the grass wasn't greener on the other side or something like that. That's one of those stories of hope, and I don't need a story of hope. I think to heal and move on, I need to think, when this is done, this is done. And I actually believe that because she's not one to go back to old people or previous people, at least to my knowledge. Severing connections is not my specialty. It's hard and it takes a lot of work. There's nothing fun in it. There's nothing good to be gained. There's no prize. It's just, I guess, the work we have to do. I'm out with my little loaf of bread. Gonna do some bar method. Gonna get out of town for a while and hopefully get some drone photos. Stop by the horse show maybe. Continue to ready the house for the photographer on Monday and just try and be good. I had a great day yesterday I'm trying to figure out until when. Until either when I went to therapy and started processing things, or until I got that text from her that sent me low because, well, we already talked about it. My anxiety is back up this morning. I can't really place why. It can't all be because of a text that came in. I mean, it wasn't a bad or mean text. It must be something more, what it represents or how. I'm clearly not at all over this situation. It still doesn't make sense to me. It still washes over me that we were best friends. We were really, really good, and it just stopped, and that's mental. Something so good doesn't just stop. So to have it just stop and have to cope with that, but in the midst of it just stopping, then having the person try and reach out and connect with you in different ways. She tries to reach out and connect in ways that almost invariably end up being for her own best, for her own self-interests. Sometimes they seem like they're in my best interests, but they can always sort of get chased down to, oh, all right, well, she needed to know this, or she needed this, or she needs me to be compliant for this situation. And it all just makes you feel crazy. Like your perception of the world is wrong. You've lived your whole life and perceived everything, and you had this great relationship, and it all was amazing, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, was I looking at it all the right way? I think I was. I think this is just a weird situation, but it does undermine your reality a little bit. This is where I'm grateful to have people to talk to, because they keep setting me back on my feet, being like, no, it's like this. No, it's like this. No, it's like this. I just have so much fight and belief in what that relationship was. It's really hard to release it, to let it go. And I feel like when I make little steps towards that, which I don't want to do anyway, but when I do, that's right around when she pops up and triggers me again. Okay, bar method, check. Next on the menu, boba, I think. I'm trying to make sure I really want it as opposed to I'm just doing it because that's what I do after bar method, but I do enjoy it. But it costs money, and I could just make coffee at home. Got about a minute and a half to decide whether I turn left or I turn right. How's your day going? I know it's early, but I do wonder, I wonder in the present tense what you, whoever you are in the future tense, like, does anybody actually watch this? Is this interesting, or do people think I'm just this whiny person that can't get over a breakup? I guess we'll see, because, yeah. Because I'm going to release these in the future. It's a weird premise, though. I'm trying to imagine watching a channel. A lot of the channels I watch tend to be contemporary or within the past couple days. This is what the person's doing. And I simply can't release this process yet because I'm in the process, and it's a long, annoying, heartbreaking process. But I just can't, I'm in the midst of this every day. My hope is that somebody in the future going through this process, seeing somebody in the recent past going through the process, might not feel so alone, or might see similarities. It all feels very bleak. Yeah, every day has a certain uncertainty and bleakness to it that's hard to explain. And people who I've spoken to who've been through this understand that. And other people just don't get that. So I want you to know, if you're feeling pretty bleak right now, I get it. I get you. Because that's every day. And I have moments, yesterday I had a bright moment. But that takes work. You have to look for those bright moments. You have to make your life better. Because as much as I used to, and still probably secretly hope that she'll make my life better, that she'll come around, that she'll apologize, that she'll do something to fix this, with every passing day it becomes obvious that she's not going to. And I know everyone's circumstance is different, but it's on me. It's on you to fix your life. It's on me to fix my life. And that's so much easier said than done. Because fixing your life is one thing. Going out, meeting new people, and doing new things, fine. But particularly in a breakup like this, where the person's still around, and the person's still contacting you, and the person thinks you're going to be friends when this is all through. That adds a layer of complexity, because one, their presence in your life isn't good for you. And two, on the one hand, you don't want to be friends when this is all over, because they devastated you, and they hurt you, and you used to be in love. But also, you kind of do want to be friends when this is all over, because you still want something. You still want some kind of contact. And I don't know, I'm not wise enough to know if I will reach a tipping point when I don't want contact anymore. I would think, once enough harm has been done, I won't want to deal with her anymore. But if we look at what's going on, a lot of harm has been done. Like a lot of pain in some of the most core fundamental ways. And I keep popping back up like, I miss my relationship. So I don't know. All I know so far is it's on you to make your life better. The person that abandoned you, the person that shattered you, isn't going to fix it. Maybe in a rare instance, but I wouldn't bet on that. And I was reading this book that talked about the statement, give up all hope. It was basically talking about how hope is really detrimental in this stage of the process because it keeps you from moving forward. I'm perpetually hopeful. I've always been hopeful. It keeps me going in life, not just this relationship. But hope is bad when you've been abandoned by somebody. To keep hoping that they'll come back, to keep hoping they'll fix it. Because they did all this damage. So you really don't want them in your life anyway. You don't want someone who has the capacity to hurt you so badly to come back around and potentially do it again. I'm gonna get a little food. Thanks for humoring me.